An antipope is a person who, in opposition to the one who is generally seen as the legitimately elected pope, makes a significantly accepted competing claim to be the pope, the bishop of Roman leader of the Catholic Church. At times between the 3rd and mid-15th century, antipopes were supported by a fairly significant faction of religious cardinals and secular monarchs and kingdoms. Persons who claim to be pope, but have few followers, such as the modern sedevacantist antipopes, are not classified with the historical antipopes. History. Hippolytus of Rome is commonly considered to be the earliest antipope, as he headed a separate group within the Church in Rome against Pope Calixtus I. Hippolytus was reconciled to Calixtus's second successor, Pope Paulus, and both he and Paulus are honored as saints by the Roman Catholic Church with a shared feast day on the 13th of August. Whether two or more persons have been confused in this account of Hippolytus and whether Hippolytus actually declared himself to be the Bishop of Rome remains unclear, since no such claim by Hippolytus has been cited in the writings attributed to him. Eusebius quotes from an unnamed earlier writer the story of Natalius, a 3rd century priest who accepted the bishopric of a heretical group in Rome. Natalius soon repented and tearfully begged Pope Zephyrinus to receive him into communion. Novatian, another 3rd century figure, certainly claimed the see of Rome in opposition to Pope Cornelius, and if Natalius and Hippolytus were excluded because of the uncertainties concerning them, Novatian could then be said to be the first antipope. The period in which antipopes were most numerous was during the struggles between the popes and the Holy Roman Emperors of the 11th and 12th centuries. The emperors frequently imposed their own nominees to further their own causes. The popes, likewise, sometimes sponsored rival imperial claimants in Germany to overcome a particular emperor. The Western Schism, which began in 1378, when the French cardinals, claiming that the election of Pope Urban VI was invalid, elected Clement VII as pope, led to 2, and eventually 3, rival lines of claimants to the papacy: the Roman line, the Avignon line, and the Pisan line. The Pisan line was named after the town of Pisa, Italy, where the council had elected Alexander V as a 3rd claimant. To end the schism, in May 1415, the Council of Constance deposed John XXIII of the Pisan line. Pope Gregory XII of the Roman line resigned in July 1415. In 1417, the council also formally deposed Benedict XIII of Avignon, but he refused to resign. Afterwards, Pope Martin V was elected and was accepted everywhere except in the small and rapidly diminishing area that remained faithful to Benedict XIII. The scandal of the Western Schism created anti-papal sentiment and fed into the Protestant Reformation at the turn of the 16th century. List of historical antipopes. The following table gives the names of the antipopes included in the list of popes and antipopes in the Annuario Pontifico, with the addition of the names of Natalius and antipope Clement VIII. An asterisk marks those who were included in the conventional numbering of later popes who took the same name. More commonly, the antipope is ignored in later papal regnal numbers. For example, there was an antipope John XXIII, but the new Pope John elected in 1958 was also called John XXIII. For the additional confusion regarding popes named John, see Pope John. The list of popes and antipopes in the Annuario Pontifico attaches the following note to the name of Pope Leo VIII. At this point, as again in the mid-11th century, we come across elections in which problems of harmonizing historical criteria and those of theology and canon law make it impossible to decide clearly which side possessed the legitimacy, who whose factual existence guarantees the unbroken lawful succession of the successors of St. Peter. The uncertainty that in some cases results has made it advisable to abandon the assignation of successive numbers in the list of the popes. Thus, because of the obscurities about mid-11th century canon law and the historical facts, the Annuario Pontificio lists Sylvester III as a pope, without thereby expressing a judgment on his legitimacy. The Catholic Encyclopedia places him in its list of popes, but with the annotation, considered by some to be an antipope. Other sources classify him as an antipope. Quasi-cardinal nephews. Many antipopes created cardinals, known as quasi-cardinals, and a few created cardinal nephews, known as quasi-cardinal nephews. Modern claimants to papacy. In modern times various people claim to be pope and, though they do not fit the technical definition of antipope, are sometimes referred to as such. They are usually leaders of sedevacantist groups who view the See of Rome as vacant and elect someone to fill it. They are sometimes referred to as conclavists because of their claim, on the basis of an election by a conclave of perhaps half a dozen lay people, as in the case of David Borden, to have rendered the see no longer vacant. A significant number of these have taken the name Peter II, owing to its special significance. For the point of view of the Roman Catholic Church, they are schismatics, and as such are automatically excommunicated. Colonites. Michel Colin, self-proclaimed in France, founder of Order of the Mother of God. Jean-Gaston Tremblay, Gregory XVII, in Canada. Palmarian Catholic Church. Clemente Dominguez y Gomez, mystically self-proclaimed in Spain. Manuel Corral, Ginés Jesus Hernandez, Joseph Odermatt. The Palmarian Catholic Church regards Pope Paul VI, whom they revere as a martyr, and his predecessors as true popes, but hold, on the grounds of claimed apparitions, that the Pope of Rome is excommunicated and that the position of the Holy See has, since 1978, been transferred to the See of El Palma de Troya. Other examples. The following were elected by allegedly faithful Catholics, none of whom was a cardinal, popes of the Legua Maria, based in western Kenya: Timothy Joseph Blasio Attila, Pius Lawrence Hiroki Argiadera, Raphael Titus Oshino, David Borden, elected in Kansas, USA. Victor von Pence. Another conclave, this time held in Assisi, Italy, elected the South African Victor von Pence, an ex-seminarian of the Society of St. Pius X, as Pope Linus II in 1994. Linus took up residence in Hertfordshire, England. Pope of the True Catholic Church. Lucian Pulvermacher, elected in Montana, USA. Mirko Fabriz, elected in Zagreb, Croatia. Joaquin Lorenz, elected in ELX, Spain. Popes of the Iglesia Católica Apostólica Remanente, based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Oscar Michaeli, elected on 24 March 2006 by a group of 34 Episcopi Vagans as Pope Leo XIV. On his death on 14 February 2007, he was succeeded by Juan Bautista Bonetti, who took the name of Pope Innocent XIV, but resigned on 29 May 2007. Alexander IX was chosen in his place. Fiction. Antipopes have appeared as fictional characters. These may be either in historical fiction as fictional portraits of well-known historical antipopes or as purely imaginary antipopes. Jean Raspail's novel L'Anneau du Péché and Gerard Bavouc's Le Porteur de Lumière. The fictional synth-pop artist Zlatko Vlasic claims to be the antipope in one of his songs. Dan Simmons's novels Endymion rebellion and rise of Endymion feature of Father Paul Dury, who was the routinely murdered Antipope Talhardai. At the end of the last novel, it is mentioned that the person calling himself the Pope of the technical loyal Catholics is recognized by very few even among those, and he is referred to as an antipope. In the Girl Genius comics series, set in a gas-lamp fantasy version of Europe thrown into chaos by mad science, there is a brief reference to the existence of 7 popes, all of whom apparently ordered a particular text burned. Ralph McInerney's novel The Red Hat features a schism between liberals and conservatives following the election of a conservative African pope. The liberal faction elect an Italian cardinal who calls himself Pius XIII. In the video game Crusader Kings 2 by Swedish developer Paradox Interactive, the player may appoint one of the bishops as an antipope.